Hey, what's up guys? So today I'm coming at you guys with my first video, and the whole reason why I'm going to be doing this video is mainly because I've been looking all over YouTube and I really haven't found any good deck profiles on Nekroz, or well, more specifically Nekroz Dogmatika. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a deck profile over the deck. This is what I've been running for this format. I'll go ahead and probably explain some of my choices in the deck, and I'll go ahead and explain what you can and can't cut, what are important, what are not important. I can go ahead and give you some good things that you could run over, like if you don't want to run the Impcantation engine, because I do run an Impcantation engine. I can go ahead and tell you guys what you want to run over that, and I'll probably do like 2 combo tutorials, and that'll be it. But let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So the way I have this laid out is not by like ritual monsters and all that, but I have this laid out by engines, okay? So for the Nekroz engine, we run 3 Nekroz of Brionac. So he is your main searcher for the deck. You can discard him and add 1 Nekroz monster from your deck to your hand. And the reason why that's so good is because, well, 1, it just helps search your deck, and 2, you can actually search Nekroz of Clausolas with this. And Nekroz of Clausolas lets you discard it to add a Nekroz spell or trap from your deck. So basically, Brio searches every single card in your deck. So that is why he is so good in the deck. His on-field effect is, once per turn, you can target up to 2 monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck and bounce them back to the extra deck. So this can sometimes out-Dragoon, and the way you would out-Dragoon with that, because it does target, but the way you would out-Dragoon with that is with Unicore. So we do play 3 Unicore as well. Unicore on-field effect is, when this card is face up on the field, all monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck's effects are negated. That is not a that is a continuous effect, not an activated effect. So the moment Unicore hits the board, all monsters are just negated, and when monsters are summoned from the extra deck, they're still negated. So if you have this up, even if you summon this after Dragoons, if you have this up, Brio can then target Dragoons, so you can bounce back Dragoons. So Unicore plus Brio does out Dragoons. Unicore's discard effect allows you to discard Unicore and add back 1 Nekroz card from your graveyard. So that is really nice. It helps you recur cards, and you can like add back Brio or something, and it's really nice. And I actually tend to like to end with Unicore in hand sometimes, instead of like a Brio or something for follow-up, because most people like to end with Brio for follow-up, but I personally prefer Unicore because, sure, it does play into some hand traps, but so does Brio. But you can use Unicore to get back any card out of your graveyard. So let's say you top deck into a Brio, you don't want to have that Brio that you search, so you can go like Unicore, add back Colossus or something. Unicore is just a lot more versatile than adding Brio onto end turn is. Next we play 2 Colossus. Like I said, he does allow you to discard him and add a Nekroz spell or trap from your deck to your hand. But his on-field effect is once per turn quick effect, you can once per turn quick effect, you can target 1 monster that's special summoned from the extra deck and negate its effect, and its attack becomes 0. So it's just really nice negation. It does target, so you can't target Dragoons with it, sadly, because it does target. Unless you have like a Unicore or something on field, but if you have Unicore, its effects are already negated, so you can't negate it again. But he's still just a nice card to end on sometimes. I don't really end on him much. That's why I only have him at 2. I really only use him for a search effect. Next we play 1 of each Valk and Trishula. So what these each do is they're really nice cards. They're partially just because you want more ritual monsters. If you want to cut 1 of these, you could cut Valk. I would definitely suggest keeping Trish. You could cut Valk out of the deck and play 2 Trish. That would work. I just like 1 and 1. So what Valk does is, while Valk is on field, you can tribute up to 2 monsters and draw that same amount of cards. And if you do decide you want to run Sure, because I do not run Sure, which I know seems a little weird, but you'll understand why in a bit. But, so if you do run Sure, you can actually tribute Sure and get Sure's effect. So, that's nice. And its discard effect is you can discard him, banish 1 Nekroz card out of your graveyard when your opponent declares an attack, and negate the attack in the battle phase. So it's really nice to have that battle phase protection, because sometimes your Vanity ruler will just get run over, so sometimes you do need that protection. So Trishula's discard effect is when your opponent targets a Nekroz monster you control for a card effect, you can quick effect, discard him, negate that activation. So he is nice target protection. his on-field effect is once per turn. Well, not once per turn. Sorry. His on-field effect is whenever he is summoned, you can banish exactly, and do keep in mind this does have to be exact, one card from the hand, field, and graveyard. Well, your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard. So if they don't have a card in hand, let's say, you cannot activate his effect. But it's still really nice, and it's a great going second card. Now for the ritual spells, I play 2 Kaleidoscope. And so how the ritual spells works is they all share one effect that are in common, and then they each have their own special summoning mechanic. So the effect that they all share is the fact that if you control no monsters, you can banish it and 1 Nekroz monster from your graveyard, and then search for 1 ritual spell from your deck. So they're really nice to help you in grind games. They're really good grind game mechanics. So Kaleidoscope's special summoning mechanic is instead of tributing cards normally, you can send 1 card from your extra deck to the graveyard and special summon 1 Nekroz monster. Now, do keep in mind, all the Nekroz ritual spells, you do have to equal the exact level. You cannot exceed the level, so you can't, do a level 10 stars altogether for, Trishula. They have to equal the level of the ritual monster. But, so yeah, Kaleidoscope lets you send 1 extra deck card from your extra deck to the graveyard, and then you can special summon Nekroz monsters. Do keep in mind, it does say monsters. That's equal to that level. And the reason why that is important, because let's say you send a level 12, you can actually summon Valk and Unicore at the same time, which is really nice. Next we play 2 Cycle. So Nekroz Cycle lets you basically just ritual summon from your graveyard. So if you have a Nekroz monster in your graveyard like Brio, you can tribute a level 6 and special summon back out Brio from your graveyard. Now do keep in mind, some of the sorry about that. Some of the Nekroz monsters do have restrictions on them, like you cannot use a level 9 to ritual summon this, you cannot use this card's name. It all just depends on the specific monster. Like, Clausolas doesn't have that restriction. Trishula and Valk has the restriction that you cannot use a level 9, so that means you do have to use multiple. So do keep in mind whenever you are going to ritual summon that you know what restrictions are what. And then the last Nekroz ritual spell we run is 1 Mirror. So Mirror lets you banish cards out of your graveyard as tribute cost to be able to ritual summon. So that's really nice. Because if you have Brio and Clausolas in there, you can banish both, summon out Trish. It's just a great card. But we only do 1 run because you really only summon Valk or Trish off of it. And you don't really summon them that much. So that's why we do only run 1. Now for the Incantation package, we run 3 Chalislime. So, Chalislime allows you to reveal him from your hand, and that is cost, not the discard. The reveal is cost. And then you can discard 1 card out of your hand, special summon 1 incantation from your deck. Also, do keep in mind, if you do not ritual summon after the turn you use this, you do take 2,500 damage. So do keep that in mind. I forget it all the time. My friends always have to remind me. I just forget it. So try not to forget. Next, we run 2 Talismandra. So, how the incantations works is the monsters will gain effects when special summoned from the deck. And so, Talismandra is whenever Talismandra is special summoned from the deck, you can search for 1 ritual monster. They also have an effect where you can reveal themselves and a card of the correlating type that they go with, and then special summon it and a incantation from your deck. So, Talismandra is you can reveal him and a ritual monster, and then you can special summon 1 incantation from your deck. And himself. So Candoll is pretty much just like Talismandra, but with ritual spells. So when Candoll is summoned from the deck, you can add a ritual spell, and also you can reveal a ritual spell in your hand and special summon 1 incantation monster from your deck. Do keep in mind all the incantations on them do have a special summon from the extra deck lock, so you cannot special summon from your extra deck while you have them up on the field. That does come up sometimes, but not all the time. Because you rarely summon from your extra deck. There is a combo where we do summon from the extra deck, but we don't really do it much. Then for the last incantation card, we run 1 Inception. So what Inception does is, it's a generic ritual spell as long as the cards you are tributing are incantations. So you can summon out any ritual monster with this card. But the tributes have to be incantations. Now, another thing that this does is while this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 1 incantation, special summon 1 incantation from your deck, and then add this card back to your hand. So if you open up this plus Chalislime, that's just 2 free searches, because you'll go Chalislime, discard, Inception, summon out Candoll, Candoll search, Inception, graveyard, tribute Candoll, summon Tau, add back Inception, Tau effect, search. So it's a really nice card. And then I went ahead and decided to include these 2 cards with the incantations, because they kind of, the incantations are the reason why we play this combo. And so that is why I'm playing these 2 cards, like have these 2 cards with it. The one of Valk and Vanity Ruler. Now, before you say anything like you're getting this from Drytron or something, no. Nekroz has been playing this combo a lot longer than Drytron has. And it's honestly just an amazing combo. Benten searching Vanity's Ruler is so nice. So now we'll go ahead and get to the Dogmatika portion. Now we do play a lot of Dogmatikas. You might seem a little weird. It might seem a little weird about this, but this is my preferred ratio, and I'll explain why in a second. So the thing that most people will probably see is the 3 Ecclesia. So you should all be familiar with Dogmatikas. I'm not going to go over Dogmatikas because they are pretty much a meta staple right now. So you should know what these all do. If not, you can go ahead and look them up. The only reason why I was going over the Nekroz cards is because not a lot of people know what those cards do, and so I was just going to go over those. So we do play 3 Ecclesia, and we also play 3 Maximus. So the reason why this might seem weird is because most people only play 1 Maximus. But the thing is, with this deck, you want to see Maximus over any other Dogmatika card. And that is because Maximus in this deck is just so, like, insanely good. Because it's just a Zaborg for your deck. Like, just every turn is Zaborg. It is so good. Even though your opponent can sometimes send, like, 2 Intus and pop your cards, you really don't have anything important on the field whenever you use your Max. So it's fine. You really don't care if they send 2 Intus or something. But it's just a great extender for the deck, and it's amazing. I recommend 3. You can play 1 copy and play the other 2 copies of Punishment or like a Called by the Grave or something, whatever you want to run over them. I prefer 3. This is completely, the Dogmatika engine is completely up to you guys. This is just my preferred ratios. You can play whatever ratios you want. These are just my preferred. And then, of course, I do play 1 Flerdelis. It's just a great card, and it's just monster negate. It's honestly just amazing. I love the card. And then we also play, of course, 3 Nadir Servant. It's a great card as well. It searches your cards. It loads up your graveyard. It's just amazing. And we also do play the 1 of Punishment. And then the last few cards are just your generic staple cards for the deck. So we play 3 Prep, and we also play 1 Sauravis. So that is it for the main deck. If you do not know what Sauravis does, it basically is like Trishula, but for all cards. Now, for the extra deck, we do play 3 Herald of the Arclight. It's an amazing card in this deck. You can use Kaleidoscope plus Unicore and get a search like that. It's just great. It searches your whole entire deck, except like Dogmatikas, of course. But it just searches everything in your deck, and it's just amazing. I play 1 Pegasus, 1 Ignister out of Pegasus. The reason why I play this card is just because sometimes you want to have that extra layer of protection in your graveyard. But this is completely cuttable. You can play anything else over this. This is just something I've been messing around with. I happen to like the card. Get a few other options you can play, like the Skull Knight Fossil Warrior, whatever it's called, the one where you can banish and pop. It's a really nice card. This is completely flexible. This is just what I've been messing around with. The extra deck is probably the most flexible thing of the deck. This is just some cards I've been messing around with. I do play 1 Omega. It's a great card, especially for grind games, being able to cycle back material, being able to cycle back your Heralds. It's just honestly amazing. And then, of course, I do play 3 Intus. This you can cut down to 2 if you'd like. I just play 3 for grind games, like I explained, because this deck does have a really good grind game. This deck is great at closing games out really fast, and this deck is great at grind games. It's just amazing. You can play through hand traps, but you're not playing through Joel. Sorry. Joel and Lockbird is just, it kills this deck. I hate to say it, but it just absolutely murders this deck. Then we do play 2 Titanclad. It is great at 2. I wouldn't change this ratio. 2 is probably the best. The only thing I could see is maybe cutting it down to 1. But I keep it at 2 for grind games. Now, I only have 1 Toad right now. This is supposed to be at 2. I am playing a Cross Sheep in place of the second one. Do keep in mind I want to have Toad at 2. but you can play it at 1. The reason why I want it at 2 is because, 1, grind games, of course, and 2, you can actually summon it in this deck with one of the combos. So that is why I do want Toad at 2. You could even play it at 3, to be honest. You could probably cut an Intis and play it at 3, give you more recursion of the deck. It's an amazing card. And then we also play, for the last 3 cards, we play 1 Bahamut, 1 Abyss, and 1 Honoric. So, the reasoning behind all these is, of course, Abyss Dweller is just a good card by itself. Sometimes you'll just win games just by ending on this. Bahamut Shark is a combo piece that you, in my opinion, I would not cut this at all, because you can make an insane import with this. And then Honoric, so that might be a little, what am I doing, right? So what Honoric is for is just because Zodiac has been picking up a lot of representation in the deck. Like, the deck's just been getting a lot more representation, and one card they can make is Megaclops. And this deck doesn't really have an out to Megaclops except for, like, Toad negate its effect if it wants to steal a card. And that is it. That is, like, your only out. So the Honoric is one of my favorite outs to it, just because of the fact that Honoric, you can go and attach it to the card, so they cannot use, like, Pot of Rice to cycle it back into their extra deck to make it again. So it's great just to keep them off of Megaclops as well. Now, of course, this can be played as anything else. You can play any other out to Megaclops. I do not suggest Castell, because you are just giving it back, and they can just easily go, okay, combo off again and make it. And then you just don't have an out to Megaclops. So I do, this extra deck, like I said, is very flexible. You can play whatever you want. This is just what I've been playing. It's what I happen to like. This is probably the most flexible part of the deck. So I'll go ahead and show off 2 real quick combos that you can do with the deck. So the first combo is going to be, if I can find the cards, any Impcantation monster besides Talismandra, and a Nekroz of Brionac. Now, of course, with certain hands, you can change up this combo, do other things. And sometimes if you open up Talismandra, you can still do the combo. It just depends on what your hand looks like. But this right here is going to be your basic bread and butter combo. So you'll start off, depending on what incantation monster you have, by activating the incantation. If you have Candoll, you do want to go ahead. We'll just pretend like, we'll just do this sequencing just in case you open up Candoll. So you'll start off by activating Nekroz of Brionac, and you'll add Nekroz of Clausolas. You'll go Clausolas and add Nekroz Cycle. And so the reason why you would do that first is just because if you do have the Candoll, you would build this. Then you'll use your Incantation monster, and you'll summon out Talismandra when I find it. There he is. So yeah, you go Talismandra and activate Tal effect, and you'll search for the Cyber Angel Benten. And then you'll just go Nekroz Cycle, Tribute Benten, summon out Brio, Benten search for Vanities, and then you'll normal summon Vanities, and then you still have 3 cards to work with for the deck, and you have a Vanities rule on board, which is really great. So that there is your bread and butter combo. And you can, of course, vary it off that combo, and on like a Unicore Vanities ruler, have some target protection with Sauravis, of course. But then we have a really insane combo that is just a lot of fun. This is technically, I will say technically, a 4-card combo, but I will explain why we do play this in a second. So, the whole entire thing you need for this combo, okay? You need 2 cards that gets you Unicore plus Kaleidoscope, and you need, the other 2 cards has to be a Dogmatika extender of any kind, or and it has to also be a Chalislime or an Inception. So if you have those 4 specific type of cards, you have the combo, which is actually surprisingly extremely consistent. So these 2 cards can be, like, instead of having Kaleidoscope, you could have Clausolas. Instead of having Brionac, you could have Unicore. Like, these cards are very flexible right here. So these could literally be just about any card. And, of course, over here, the only card that's really that specific is Chalislime, which is Inception or Chalislime. But for the Dogmatika extender, it could be Servant, Ecclesia, or Max. So, like, this is a pretty consistent 4-card combo. So to start it off, you are going to start off by activating Brio, and you're going to search your Unicore. Next, you'll go Kaleidoscope, sending a Herald to special summon Unicore, and you'll go Herald effect, and Herald is going to search that Inception. So you're going to activate Chalislime, discard Inception, summon out. I like to go, where are you? Candoll first. This is just my preference. For the main reason, I would rather them hand trap Candoll over Talismandra. And so you want to try and mate them out with the Candoll. So you want to go Candoll, add Cycle, then go Inception, Tribute Candoll, Special Talismandra, add back Inception, Talismandra effect, and you're actually going to be searching, depending on what you open. If you opened up just Unicore, you would search Brio here, because you do need Brio in Graveyard, because you need that Brio level 6 in Graveyard. But since we already did open up the Brio, we're going to search Unicore. So let's say you open up Unicore instead of Brio, you just add Brio, discard Brio, search Unicore. So next you'll go Inception, Tribute the Tau, and summon the Unicore. So the reason why we can do that is because the only time they have to be exact levels when you're using a Nekroz ritual spell to summon them. Next you'll go ahead and overlay into Bahamut chart. And then this right here is the 5th summon, so your opponent can Nibiru you here. But if they do Nibiru you, you'll still be able to end on Vanity Ruler, because if they Nibiru you, you just go Servant, search, Max, summon Max, send, Herald, search, Benten, and you'll make Vanity. So, if they don't Nibiru you here, then what you're doing is basically getting a free Toad. So you'll get Toad, and then you go Servant. And here, this is why I specifically play the when Pegasus at Ignister, just because it gives you that extra level of protection. But like I said, you can play anything else other than that here. I'll put the graveyard here so you guys can see it a little bit better. So here, you want to search a Ecclesia. And then you go Special Summon Ecclesia in this zone. And then activate Ecclesia, adding a Max. You'll banish the Herald that you special summon off of Unicore. Not special summon, sorry. Sent off of Unicore. Summon the Max. Go Max effect, and you want to send a Herald and a Titanclad. You'll go Herald effect, and you'll add a Benten. Then you'll just go Cycle, Tribute Benten, special out the Nekroz of Brionac, go Benten, and Benten will add your Vanities. And then you'll just go normal summon Vanities Ruler. So you can summon out Vanities Ruler in 2 different zones. I do this zone because it's kind of a meme. You're not playing around Mech Knights. It's funny, but it's like they can't summon Mech Knights anyway, smile. But technically the best zone would be over here because it plays around the Geonator and the Anima. Here does still play around Geonator, but you're not playing around Mech Knight. So the correct zone would be playing it in this zone here and having Maximus here. Or you could keep Maximus here, but they'll be able to steal it. So this right here would technically be the best zone placement for all of your cards. I just do this because it's funny. Smile. But yeah, so that's your combo. You'll still have 1 card extra in hand, and if it's another extender, you could sometimes have a set Punishment, have a Sauravis in hand. There's another thing. You would also move to end phase, and Titanclad would add Flerdelis. I have had hands that made it look, my end board looked like this, basically. And I've also had end boards where I had this plus a Punishment. But yeah, so what you've basically accomplished here is you have a Monster Negate, an Omni Negate, and a Special Summon Lock. And do keep in mind, Toad can actually tribute off in Chalislime, because Chalislime is technically an Aqua. But sometimes you do want to tribute Toad because you can add back cards from your graveyard. So you also have an insane follow-up, by the way, because whatever you draw off of the deck, if it's not good, you can discard off a Chalislime, or you can just discard a Chalislime. And then you also have that additional search. So for follow-up, you have 2 additional searches. So you have an insane follow-up. You have an insane board. It's honestly amazing. It's a great deck. Not budget at all. I hate to say it. It's fun to play. And you can very, and I do mean very easily, steal games with this. If your opponent is not ready, or if your opponent's never seen a deck like this, you can just steal games very easily. I've topped a few locals because I've really only done locals with this deck. but they have been playing a lot of meta in the locals. But I have topped a lot of locals with this. I've dueled a lot online with my friends that play meta decks. This deck does really great. A lot of people don't know how to play around it. A lot of people just don't have an out to Vanity's Ruler, and a lot of people don't have an out to Vanity's Ruler plus negates. So I do recommend the deck. Thank you guys for watching. I do hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.